Good morning. Thank you all for coming. My name is McCarley Maddock. That's spelled McCarleymaddock. I'm an attorney at the Institute for Justice, and I'm here today with our client, Fernie Madrid, the lead attorney on this case, Mike Greenberg, and other members of our litigation team. The Institute for Justice is a national nonprofit law firm. For 35 years, we've defended individual constitutional rights against government abuse all over the country. We work in several areas, including property rights, educational choice, economic liberty, and the right we're here to talk about today, free speech under the First Amendment. Government officials cannot use their power to go after individuals exercising their First Amendment rights. Running for office is core political speech at the heart of the First Amendment. When government officials use their power and weaponize their offices to intimidate, harass, or punish political opponents, they blatantly violate the First Amendment. And that's why we filed our lawsuit today. Mike will tell you a little bit more about the specifics of this case, and then I'll introduce our client, Fernie Madrid, and he'll be able to tell you a little bit more about his story. After that, we're happy to take any questions.
Thank you, McCarley. I'm Mike Greenberg, Greenberg. I'm an attorney at the Institute for Justice. This case is about vindicating a simple and obvious truth. In America, we resolve our political disagreements through open debate and at the ballot box, not through government officials intimidating and harassing their opponents. Fernie was born and raised in Apache County, and that's where he spent most of his long career in education. So it was fitting that he'd soon run for Apache County Superintendent of Schools. He first ran in 2016, and though he didn't win that race, he learned from it and he remained passionate about Apache County's students. So in 2024, he decided to run again. His opponent in that election would have been the incumbent superintendent, Joy Whiting. Joy Whiting is married to Michael Whiting, who at that point had long been the Apache County attorney. And for his part, Michael Whiting didn't seem to care for the idea of Fernie's challenge to Joy. Rather than let things play out at the ballot box, Michael Whiting launched a scheme of intimidation and harassment designed to get Fernie to drop out of the race. He had two employees on his county attorney's office payroll, Daryl Greer and Trent Jensen, carry out this plan, and over weeks, they tailed and surveilled Fernie around town, photographing him and his property. They threw rocks at his house. They sent him creepy packages and threatening anonymous letters. And they physically assaulted and verbally intimidated Fernie as he was out in town collecting signatures to appear on the ballot, knocking his clipboard out of his hand, pushing him back toward the street, and announcing, quote, "Michael Whiting is just getting started with you." And their scheme worked. As Fernie will tell you, he stopped campaigning and dropped out of the race, terrified at what Michael Whiting and his henchmen would do to him and to his family next. Their actions don't just violate the public trust in the county attorney's office. More than that, they blatantly violated the First Amendment. Seeking out and campaigning for office is protected speech, core protected speech. And government officials who go after their opponents for exercising those bedrock speech rights violate the First Amendment and must be held accountable. And that is what this lawsuit is seeking to achieve. I'll turn it over now to Fernie to tell a little more about his story himself.
Good afternoon. Like Mike and Carly were just saying, my name is Fernie Madrid. Unfortunately, you have people that are in political office that will take things just one step further. In this case, that is exactly what happened to myself. Out collecting signatures, two men approached me, slapping a clipboard out of my hand. And, very uncomfortable feeling. being shoved into the street, and then to follow with Michael Whiting's just getting started with you. So that, along with the same evening, with the barrage of rocks being thrown at our home, uh, and a number of other things that occurred during this 3-week interval, really forced me to drop out of the Apache County superintendent race. And with that being said, I'm going to leave it at that for now. If there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, are we talking about 2024, right? So I'm just wondering why you're choosing to do this now.
There is actually ongoing litigation that I'm not privileged to discuss that had been filed previously to the Institute for Justice and myself filing this claim. So this is not the only litigation going on with this particular group of individuals.
Bernie, for people who are unfamiliar with how things go in Apache County, we have judges with the last name Whiting, we have an Apache County attorney with the last name Whiting, and we have a superintendent of schools with the last name Whiting. How do they feel as though their name in Apache County is what goes out there and that they can do whatever they want?
You know, I can't speak for the Whiting family. I do know that anyone that chooses to run for political office, not only in Apache County, but in any county, should be able to do so without being harassed or intimidated.
Tell me, why did you want to be superintendent?
In my career in education, the majority of my career has been spent in Apache County as a turnaround principal and a superintendent starting back in 2005. I've got the superintendent credentials. I've been an interim superintendent. I was a 7th grade science teacher right out of the gates. And I just felt it was the time to run for that particular office, and was encouraged by many people in the county.
What do you think? Why do you think they were doing this? Were they intimidated by you, or what? Why do you think they were taking these drastic steps to get you out of that race?
You know, understandably so. I can't speak for what is in the mind of someone that is sworn to uphold the office. They take an oath, and if that oath, if they come down to a level which they did, it's very distraught, and it's a very uncomfortable feeling, not only for myself, but for anyone seeking to run for office.
What is the end goal of this litigation? Like, what relief are you seeking? What precedent are you hoping to set here? Yeah.
I think the bottom line is to assure that this never happens to anyone else in my position, that someone that seeks to run for office uh, is not harassed, is not intimidated, does not hire groups of individuals to do the things that I was subjected to.
Sorry. And just legally speaking, the complaint seeks relief, a declaration that the defendant's actions violated the First Amendment, along with compensatory damages and punitive damages for the expenses that Fernie had during his campaign and for his pain and suffering for this 3-week campaign of terror, frankly.
How much money are you seeking? How this?
It, the complaint doesn't seek a specific amount. It's an amount to be proven at trial.
I just wanted to ask how this will interact with, ongoing litigation. That you mentioned the criminal charges that are still pending.
Yeah, so the Arizona Attorney General's office has secured an indictment against Michael Whiting. That case is ongoing. We don't control that litigation. This case is just about vindicating Fernie's First Amendment rights. And just to the question very briefly earlier about why now, that criminal case is ongoing, but the Fernie's claim has a 2-year statute of limitations, and so that would be up next month. And so
So I've noticed that Joy Whiting isn't like being targeted in any of these lawsuits. Is it because she didn't do anything, or was she not involved in any of this? I mean, it's that office that he was running for, right? Like, was she part of this?
We can't say at this point, but we have no reason to believe at this point that she was. We know that this campaign of harassment was directed by Michael Whiting. If it turns out that there's evidence of more people being involved later, we will handle that at a later time.
Bernie, was there any vindication for you when you found out that Michael Whiting was under indictment and is facing criminal charges for his conduct in office? How did you
I
react?
wouldn't say it was vindication. Um, I thought it was a step in the right direction that the conflict of interest with his wife being involved, me running against his wife. I wouldn't say, vindication was the word I would use.
It's incredibly rare for a sitting county attorney to be under criminal indictment for allegations of any kind. Again, I want to ask this one more time. For people who are unfamiliar with how things work in Apache County, could you give the public some insight into how things have gone for the longest time in that county? What do people need to know?
Well, I can't talk once again into the specifics as to what goes on in a small town.
Sure.
We all have choices that we make in life, okay?
Yeah.
And there's consequences for the choices that we do make. He decided to make a choice to do the things that he did to assure that my name was not on that ballot for the 2024 election. And unfortunately, for me, he was successful with his threats and harassment and the safety of my own self and my family.
Tell me, in the criminal complaint, they only charged the Whitings and then I believe it's Daryl Greer, one of the people that worked in the office. Your complaint charges another gentleman. Why do that?
Well, quite frankly, the criminal complaint was for Michael Whiting, Joy Whiting, Trent Jensen, and Daryl Greer. So she was included in that initial complaint.
Are you gonna run again?
We can't speak to why the Attorney General chose or did not choose to charge certain individuals or others. But again, this case is about vindicating Fernie's rights and ensuring that what happened to Fernie doesn't happen to anyone else. And what happened to Fernie involved all of Michael Whiting, Daryl Greer, and Trent Jensen.
Are you gonna run again for superintendent?
That's a good question. I think that's something that I need to explore, and I will make a decision at a later date. Thank you.
Tell me what this ordeal has been for you and your family.
Quite frankly, it's been very traumatic, mentally, physically, for anyone that has to endure something of this nature. Very much blindsided by this entire the professionalism of this one particular individual, and for once again him choosing the tactics that he would use to get his desired outcome, and that was for me to drop out of the race, which I was forced to do.
Tell me, you filed a police report. Why did you do that, and was it a gap in time between when the police report was filed and when the AG's office moved forward? Tell me a little about that time and if you ever lost.
Well, quite frankly, that occurred on St. Patrick's Day. Very significant date to me, to everyone else for that matter. And the time frame that I believe it was a sheriff that took the complaint was not sure what to do. He questioned the people within the association of the legal system, the sheriff system, what have you. I'm not sure. And that was escalated to the Attorney General's office.
Is there anything about Michael Whiting's conduct in office that isn't publicly known that you believe should be known?
I have no idea. I couldn't say.
Sure.
How do you know it was these three individuals? I mean, you mentioned like anonymous letters, damage.
Quite frankly, there has been some litigation that's going on by looking at a number of different pictures from the Attorney General's office for confessions from one of the two assailants, and for them I had no idea who they were initially, and to find out that they worked for Michael Whiting, you put two and two together.
The Attorney General's investigation also revealed that the um, threatening packages with the anonymous letter was mailed by Daryl Greer with Michael Whiting's credit card.
Tell me, does it leave you concerned, you know, if Mr. Whiting would do this to you, what he would do to others in the county?
Well, once again, you know, there's always a concern that's always going to be in the back of my own mind. It's just a very uncomfortable feeling that I wouldn't want anyone else to have to go through. And I did go through it, and this is where we're at today, is the reason for myself filing this particular lawsuit.
Tell me, any concern that he would still be elected even with these charges pending?
I cannot predict the future. I really cannot predict the future and what the voters will turn out to do.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
What happened to Fernie shouldn't happen to anyone else, and this lawsuit will vindicate his